everybody, and welcome to this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. I'm your host, Tom Nappy. Momentarily, we'll have Jared Keene from the Metrowest Daily News and Andy Barron joining the show. But first, here are some of the latest Hillers highlights from the 2021-2022 fall sports season. Sit back and enjoy.
Hopkinton Hillers boys varsity soccer is coming off a COVID-shortened season last year, hoping to improve on last year's 2-4-4 record. This year's team is being led by 3 experienced captains.
Owen Schnorr, I play center mid.
Tori Ito, I play center mid.
Andrew Gahn, I play center back.
Yeah, so we have a lot of returners, so practices have been going smoothly. A lot of leaders on our team. The young guys are getting acquainted nicely, and we're looking good so far. Working on finishing, getting ready to score some goals this season.
Do you have any personal goals this year?
Win the TVL. That's not really personal, but I would love to do that.
They're going pretty well. I think we have, like Owen said, we have a large group of returning players, and we also added a lot of new players. So with more people, there's a better practice environment. It's really competitive out here, and it helps all of us get better.
And do you have any goals for the season?
Yeah, just win the TVL. Hopefully make a long run in states too.
It's been fantastic, but the group we have here is just great. We have great energy in practice. We've had a few scrimmages. We're looking good. We're ready for the season. It's going to be great.
Terrific. And what's your goals this year?
Just like they said, we want to make a long states run. We want to win TVL, win a bunch of games. Yeah.
All right. And it must be nice practicing without masks on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So freeing. Awesome.
Head coach Garrett Sawyer enters his 18th season at the helm.
It's been going great. All the guys came into our preseason in good shape and excited about the season. So every time we've been out to train, they put in a lot of effort. There's a good positive spirit in the team, and they're doing whatever they need to do individually as a group to give us the best opportunity to be successful.
And some good experienced captains this year. Can you talk about them?
Yeah, so it's Owen Schnorr, Tori Ito, and Andrew Gahn. They have all been on varsity. This is their 3rd year on varsity. They're all very good soccer players. They work hard, they have a positive attitude, and because of that they've earned the respect of their teammates, and they're willing to push them and get the maximum out of themselves and their teammates. So they're good communicators with their teammates as well. So we're happy to, or fortunate to have such great captains.
And what are some of the things you're working on in these early practices?
Putting the ball in the net. And I think that that's the hardest thing in soccer. I think because we have an experienced team, we've played together a lot in past years. I think we don't have to focus on the tactics quite as much. We can focus on finishing and restarts and things like that.
And it must be nice coaching without a mask on.
Oh yeah, it's basically back to normal this year. We're really excited to have it back to normal soccer rules and just being able to play free and not worry about some of those extras.
On September 8th, the Hillers hosted their season opener versus Medfield. The game was scoreless until just under 5 minutes of the second half.
There's a Toro Ito, senior captain for the Hillers. Out in front, and a header and a goal! With the score, Andrew Gahn. What a beauty of a corner from Ito, and Andrew Gahn gets it done to put the Hillers on the board with 35:40 left in the second half.
The Hillers struck just over 4 minutes after that.
Ito sends it over, rushing in, open opportunity, and there's a goal! Yes, Tora Ito with the goal. It was Schnorr that had the initial shot to get Spence out of place, and Ito had a wide open net to make it a 2-0 lead for Hopkinton.
Owen Schnorr finds Ito, and the Hillers go up 2-0 and would never look back, taking the win in their season opener 2-0 over Medfield. On Friday, September 10th, Hopkinton Hillers girls soccer took on Norwood. They were looking for their first win of the season. In the first half, the Hillers net a goal. Along the end line. And a nice move there. Shot and a score. Georgina Clark nets it. Assisted by Ava Perloff. Georgina Clark, assisted by Ava Perloff, made it 1-0. It would stay that way until the second half. Punt over to Butler. Trying to set up Clark. Clark putting on the moves. Rushes in, takes a shot, and knocks it in. Goal, Hillers! The sophomore does it again and makes it a 2-0 game at 28 minutes left to go in the second half. Now will she go straight at the net or pass it over? We shall see. I'd imagine with her leg straight at the net. And she does, and it's nearly added, but then it's knocked in. Burt Whistle off the keeper, and then Lexi Trendle puts it in. 2 more goals for the Hillers in the second half by Georgina Clark and Lexi Trendle, and the Hillers take the 3-0 win. On Monday, September 13th, the Hillers took on Holliston. Hopkinton got the scoring started in the first half. McLeod now. Clark approaching. A nice move and a shot and a score! Goal, Hillers! Georgina Clark, the sophomore sensation, does it again. A 1-0 Hillers lead. Clark, look out. Here comes Georgina. Sends it out in front. There's a shot and a score! Georgina Clark finds Tazagnados. And Nina Tazagnados, the freshman, puts it in. A 2-0 Hopkinton lead. What a great feed and a great shot by Zaganedos. A pair of goals by the Hillers in the first half, and Georgina Clark added another one in the second half. Her whistle. Trying to find Clark. Georgina putting on the moves. Takes the shot, and it's in! Georgina Clark never ceases to amaze. She was able to move past 2 defenders and knock it right in to make it a 3-0 score at 33:16 left in the second half. Georgina Clark just under 7 minutes in. Holliston, however, got back into the game. Here comes Holliston. Butler trying to get there on top of Luisi. Sent over to the net, and that is in. A Holliston goal. Cordon. Cordon looking for the shot, and it's in. Off the hands of Anna Thomas, and it's a 3-2 game. A 3-2 game as Holliston nets 2 goals of their own, but Georgina Clark struck again. Win the battle. Clark helps her out. Clark putting on the moves. Takes the shot, makes the shot! Georgina Clark with a hat trick. It's 4-2 Hillers. With just under 4 minutes left, another Georgina Clark goal, and the Hillers take the victory 4-2 and improve to 2-1 on the season.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. I'm Tom Nappy, and joining me on the show, we have Andy Barron from MyFm 101.3. We have Jared Keene from the Metrowest Daily News. Guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, Tom. How you doing?
I'm good. Glad football's here. It was kind of a sloppy first week, but there was some good games. A great game last night between the Ravens and the Raiders. Highly entertaining game, a couple of bad calls by the officials, but a very entertaining game. And I really thought for a while that the Raiders were going to find a new way to lose last night after getting all the way down to the half-yard line and then having a false start moving back and then
throwing a pick.
Yeah, and then throwing a pick. And somehow that defense came through, stopped the Ravens, they recovered a fumble.
They did.
From the Ravens.
Forced fumble and then touchdown pass.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. I did not think the Raiders were going to pull off that win after that, though. I really didn't. But I guess their fans are pretty happy. It was their first game at the new stadium, so it was nice to see them get a win. I can't say I mind seeing the Ravens lose too much. But we'll talk a lot about many games, many teams, and especially the Patriots, a tough loss this week. Mac Jones looked pretty good, in my opinion. The defense, to me, looked pretty slow. It looks like they're going to have trouble with the speedy teams if they keep playing like they did in week one. The running backs, except James White, he was the exception. The running backs were terrible for the Patriots. 4 fumbles for New England running backs. It was just pretty sloppy stuff this past Sunday, and that loss puts the Pats in a real bad spot. That's a game they should have won. You got the Jets coming up. You should win that one. You better win that one. But then you got the Saints, who look really good, and then you got the Bucs. So you could be starting off the season 1-3, guys.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a tough loss. I'm not surprised that the game was sloppy. I had a feeling it was going to be that way. You know, one stat that stood out to me, they had 24 new players on this Patriots team. And I said, it's going to take a little while for these guys to probably get going. Listen, look at Tampa Bay last year. They didn't set the world on fire to start either. So I'm not saying that the Patriots are as good as Tampa, but we lost by 1 point. We were right there. I mean, after the interception by Jonathan Jones, you're thinking, okay, I think we got all the momentum right now. Tua got razzled. And then, Harris fumbled the football. I mean, it just –
that was the one play that cost them the game.
Exactly.
I mean, if that doesn't happen, they win. They get the field goal, touchdown, whatever it may be, but they win.
Absolutely.
That was horrible by Harris. I'd imagine after that, he'll probably be taking a back seat in week 2, especially if he does it again. I'm not saying they're not going to play him, but it won't surprise me if they mix in the other guys a little bit more.
Tom, I actually think Harris had a pretty good game. I don't think he's a bad running back. He's a good running back. Obviously, that fumble hurt them, but I wouldn't put that all. I wouldn't put the game. Yes, that did sort of, I guess, cost him the game, but I wouldn't rip him too much. The guy's a good running back. He's, he had a fairly productive game.
I think he is a good running back, but he had 2 fumbles. So
I hear you.
I can't sit here and not criticize the guy. Once, okay, maybe that's acceptable. But then you give away the game winner. That one hurt a little bit too much.
Why wasn't?
I'm not saying he's not a good running back. Maybe he just.
Yeah. Why wasn't JJ Taylor dressed even?
Why wasn't he dressed?
I have no idea. That is interesting.
Baffles me. It's a good back. I'm not saying.
And I'm surprised we didn't see Stevenson more.
He fumbled once, and then they didn't put him back in.
They had him, yeah.
Yeah, he had a bad fumble too. But heartbreaking loss. And it really.
Andy hit most of the stuff on the head, though. They Dolphins made some plays. You have to give the Dolphins credit. They made a few more plays than we did, And the one fumble, obviously, unfortunately, cost us. I think we'll be okay. I'm not too worried. I mean, again, this is only one game. Yeah, it was kind of a bad loss, but Mac looked good. I was impressed by Mac, and sure, maybe the defense needs to shore up a little bit with some things, but again, this is one game. I'm not overly too concerned right now with where we're at. Yes, it's a bad loss.
Out of all the rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones was head and shoulders above them all. He was really, some of the throws he made.
Hurts looked pretty good, I must say. Well, he's not really a rookie.
But I'm talking about, Trevor Lawrence, he had 3 touchdowns, but he had 3 picks. I mean,
3 picks.
He was running for his life all day in that game. But I'm just saying.
Jacksonville, too.
He had 37 points to Houston.
What an atrocious game. That was by far the most atrocious game I've ever. I can't believe I picked Jacksonville in that game.
Yeah,
you're not the only one. 4 out of the 5 of us, or the 6 of us picking. 5 out of the 6 of us picked Jacksonville. So
that's atrocious.
You're not alone. Mike was the only one to pick Houston. Speaking of picks, why don't we just get right to it? We got Thursday night football. The Giants, the Washington football team. The Giants looked absolutely horrid last week, so there's no way I can pick them. I'm going Washington on this one. Andy, who do you got?
Yeah, I can't believe I picked the Giants either. They were awful. Listen, the Patriots have their problems, but we're not that bad, okay? I mean, Washington played good for the most part. Now Fitzpatrick's out. Taylor Heineke's in. I think that's who they wanted anyways. I think they are clearly the better team, but you never know with these divisional games. It's probably going to be another ugly football game, but I think I'm picking Washington to pull it out.
Yeah, I'm going Washington as well. I mean, again, the Giants just look so atrocious. It's almost Washington by default.
All right, Mike, Kevin, Steve haven't submitted their picks yet, so we'll just stick with us 3 for the show.
All right.
But records last week. We should probably talk about that. Jared, you were the week champion. You went 10-6. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You get a cookie. I went
chocolate
9
chip, please.
You get bragging rights for the week. I went 9-7 in second place. Mike went 8-8, and then Steve Watson, who's picking with us, Kevin, and Andy. You all went 7-9. So you're in the 7-9 club.
Oh well.
But that was a rough week for
week one. Week one is tough, man. Week one is always tough because you never know how teams are going to come out, how teams are going to look, etc. I mean, yeah. I mean, we all picked. Give yourself a pass, man.
We picked Atlanta over Philly across the board. Okay, I almost picked Philly by accident. I wish I did, but we picked Atlanta over Philly across the board, and I think they get the worst performance of the week. Atlanta, they looked horrible.
Yeah, they look pretty bad.
Oh, brutal. All right. Let's get right into it. Crucial matchup.
Did anybody pick the Browns over the Chiefs? Did any of you guys have Cleveland, or did we all pick the Chiefs?
I think we all had the Chiefs, didn't we?
Yes, we all had the Chiefs.
Bob probably picked the Browns, but
the Browns almost won.
They look good, man. They look good.
They're just not quite as good. They're a good team, but they're not ready to overtake Kansas City yet.
Yep.
No, Mahomes could put up like 40 points in 2 minutes. It's pretty unbelievable. All right, Patriots and the Jets. Big time game for the Pats because after this, you got the Saints and the way they're looking. I don't know if you'll be able to keep up with them. And then you got the Bucs and a guy named Tom Brady. And I just don't even give him a chance in that game. So to me, this is a must-win game. If you don't win this, you could be starting off the season 0-4. So I think they're going to win. I'm going Pats here, but they need to play better and not fumble the football.
I'm guessing we're all going Pats. I'm sure you're going Pats, Andy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be this might be another ugly game. You're on the road.
I agree.
You're in a hostile environment. I mean, the Jets, they're starting Zach Wilson. He looked a little bit better in the second half. Now the Jets have a lot of injuries up front. I think the Patriots are going to sneak this out, but they're not going to win this going away. I mean, we're in for, I think, a couple tough games here. This might be like another 16-13 game.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Was what, 5.5? I would actually probably go with the Jets if we were picking.
Yeah, I would too.
Because because I could see this being a 3 or 4 point game. I don't think they're going to crush them. And the Jets, I mean, they played a competitive game last week at least. They hung around. So I think it's going to be that kind of game. It's going to be a lot like last week. I don't think the Jets are as fast as Miami, and you have more talent across the board than them. You should win this game, but yeah, I think it'll be a close one. All right, the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Broncos dominated the lowly Giants last week. The Jacksonville Jaguars were absolutely horrid against Tyrod Taylor and the Houston Texans. And of course, last week I said
Broncos.
Houston.
I'm guessing we're all going Broncos here.
Probably, but
Yeah.
I like to expand it
Again,
up.
almost by default though. 'Cause I wasn't overly impressed with Denver, and Denver did lose Jerry Jeudy for 4 to 6 weeks, which is a big loss. Jerry Judy's a immense receiver, who I thought was going to have a prime breakout year this year. But Jacksonville just no.
Yeah, that is a tough loss, losing Judy. I think the Broncos, they might be one of those teams that's a thorn in the sides for some of the playoff contenders. I don't see him as a playoff contender, but I do see him as, a 7-10 kind of team or an 8-9 kind of team. Probably right around 500.
That's a good point. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is an upgraded quarterback. It clearly is. I mean, the Broncos, they say what you want. Yeah, but they won pretty easily in that game. Now, I don't think this is the Broncos of old. I don't think they're a playoff team, but they're better than Jacksonville. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I would be surprised if they lost this game. I think they win this by at least 10 points, maybe even more.
I think every team in the league might be better than Jacksonville right now.
And Urban Meyer, he seriously, there's something wrong with this guy. Like, I heard his press conference after the first game. This guy he still thinks he's coaching in college. I mean, it's just like the players are going to tune this out real quick if he doesn't get this shit turned. He might not last. He might not be back next year.
Yeah. I mean, you just drafted Trevor Lawrence. If you go 2-15, he might not be back.
No.
He's got to at least have a competitive season. I don't think he needs to make the playoffs, but he needs to at least go 8-9, 7-10 even, but much less than that. I would say, he's probably gone. All right, we got the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. This is a big AFC East game. Well, the Dolphins, I mean, they beat the Pats. They made a couple extra plays. They did a good job at forcing some fumbles. And the Bills, they took a tough loss. They lost
to
the Steelers, right? But you know what? I mean, it's not a bad loss. It was a close game. Buffalo, we all said they'll probably take a step back this year, and it's pretty clear that at least from game one that they have. Obviously, it's only game one, but I think they're going to beat the Dolphins, though. I'm going to go Buffalo in this one, but I think the AFC East could be very interesting. If Miami truly takes a step up, and obviously you'd expect that the Patriots will hang around. I can't imagine they'll be as bad as last year. The Jets, they probably won't hang around, but you could have 3 teams in that race. But I'm going to go Bills in this one. Andy, who do you got?
I'm going to take the Bills too, but again, I think this is going to be another close game. Listen, it's going to be hot and humid down in Miami. We know all the struggles that teams have down there, especially in September. The Dolphins always are tough to beat in Miami in September, but they're coming off a huge win over the Patriots. I still think Buffalo's a better team. But again, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be another close game, but the Bills will pull it out late.
All right, Jared.
I honestly just agree with everything Andy just said. I think this will be a tight one, but I like Buffalo here. I think Buffalo will be, rearing to get after it after a loss to the Steelers in a game that they probably felt they should have won. I just think Buffalo has a little bit more talent. And, I don't think Buffalo's going to win by a huge amount, though. I could see this again being, 5-point game, 6-point game, whatever. So, yeah.
I'm hoping Diggs gets more involved for fantasy football purposes. All right, we got the 49ers and the Eagles. The 49ers, they were dominating the Lions, and they fell apart, and the Lions climbed back in, and the 49ers were just able to hold them off. And then you got the Eagles, who just tore apart Atlanta. And after the way they looked in preseason, I did not think they were going to look very good to start the season, but they proved me wrong. This game's a tough one, but you know what? I'm going to go Philly here. 49ers just barely beat the Lions. So I think the Eagles, they look great in all facets of the game against Atlanta. So give me Philly. Andy, what do you got?
I'm going to take Philly too because I have no clue what in the world the 49ers are doing. This team is going to – this is going to be a ticking time bomb here, really. This whole thing, you know, they put in Trey Lance and they go back to Garoppolo. They nearly blow a lead to really a terrible Lions team. You're going into Philadelphia. It's your second game on the road. I got to admit, the Eagles were impressive. You know, they're tough to beat at home. I'm taking Philadelphia.
All right, Jared.
This is a tough one, as you said, Tom. I think, you know, again, and as Andy alluded to, it's tough to try to figure out what the 49ers really want to do right now. You know, they did just lose Raheem Mostert to an injury, although the backup, whatever his name was, came in and had a fire game. You know, running back, I forget his name, 25.
He's the rookie.
Yeah. But he had a nice game. I'm kind of torn here because I could really see either team winning. I'm going to go Philly. I'm going to go Philly. I think we got Philly across the board here. And now watch. Now San Francisco's going to wipe the floor with them probably just because we all picked
probably.
Philly.
Oh, yeah. We should probably have a note to our viewers out there. Don't rely on any of our picks.
No, definitely not. But here's the other thing real quick. It's like, will you just name a starter? Like, really? I mean, what is Kyle Shanahan doing? Like, this might be it for him. If this thing falls apart,
yep.
I mean, at least you can say that with Bill. At least he moved on from Cam Newton. He put in Mac Jones. Like, what a debacle this is, really.
I think my Philly pick there is based on the fact that, I mean, yes, Atlanta didn't look good, but Philly looked better against an Atlanta team than San Francisco get against the Lions team, almost blowing a huge lead.
Yeah.
You know, when you almost blow a huge lead against the Lions, I don't know. I got to take Philly here, I think, but you know, watch San Fran come out and win by 20.
It's very possible. I think anything could happen in this game. This should be an interesting one. The Rams and the Colts. The Colts looked pretty good last week. Who they play? Oh, Seattle. They hung around.
Seattle looked pretty good too.
Yep, Seattle looked very good. Their defense looked great. The Rams, they got a dominant win against the Bears, who looked pretty bad. This is a tough one to pick. I'm going to go Rams just because I think they have more talent. We'll go with the talent here. Andy, what do you got?
Taking the Rams. I'm just not sold on the Colts. They're very mediocre at best. I thought the Rams actually looked pretty good last week with Matt Stafford in there. And I think it'll be the same here. I like the Rams to take this one.
By the way, Eli Mitchell was the 49ers.
There you go. Yeah, Mitchell. Yeah, that's it. Nice. And he looked good. Yeah, I mean, I got the Rams here. But again, I could see this in being yet another close game. I could see Indianapolis sticking right in it. You know, I think Indy will be a decent team this year. Again, I know they just lost to Seattle, but I don't know. I just think the Rams looked good the other night. And yeah, sure, it was against the Bears, but I like the Rams here in a tight one.
All right, and here's another game that could be a tight one. The Raiders at the Steelers. Both teams 1-0. Steelers, a nice win against the Bills. The Raiders, a very nice win against Baltimore. They did everything they could to almost blow it, but they were able to pull it off and get the win against Baltimore. Raiders are fast. They look like a fast team this year. This is going to be, I think, a high-scoring game. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. They beat Buffalo. I think Pittsburgh has a better defense than Baltimore, and they look pretty good against Buffalo. So I'll go Pittsburgh, but I think this is going to be a tight, crazy, wild game. Andy, what do you got?
I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well. Tom, I actually was very impressed with them last week. And I actually will say this. I thought Mike Tomlin, he outcoached Sean McDermott.
He did.
The Steelers were good. I mean, they really surprised me. And they won that on the road. You won that in Buffalo. You're back home. I mean, the Raiders are, yeah, they're good, but I think the Steelers defense is going to give Derek Carr and the Raiders a lot of problems here. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I like the Steelers.
I like the
All right.
Steelers as well. Again, I think it's also a tight one. I just think, again, that Steelers win over the Bills, I think was more impressive than the Raiders win over the Ravens. Now, I'm not saying the Raiders win wasn't good, but we also have to keep in mind that the Ravens had no running backs whatsoever. It's a game that the Raiders probably could have won by more instead of taking it to, OT or whatever. But yeah, I think you got to go Steelers here. I like their defense. Boom. Steelers.
All right. Pittsburgh across the board. And the Bengals, they beat Minnesota last week, which was a surprise. So they start off on the right foot. Burrows looked pretty good in that game. The Bears, they got absolutely annihilated by the Rams. This game's at Soldier Field, and a tough one to pick. You know what? Let's start off with Jared on this one. Throw him right in the fire.
I'm going Cincinnati here. Give me Cincinnati. I don't know. I'm not sold on the Bears.
I'm not either. They look like
what I saw from Burrow. They got some team speed. Jamar Chase looked pretty good. Again, it could be ugly, but give me Cincinnati.
It's gonna be ugly. Andy, what do you got?
I like Cincinnati. It's early in the year, but could Cincinnati be possibly a sleeper in the AFC? I mean, they don't have a boatload of talent, but you really got to like Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy's a
good
player.
He's good.
He's good, and I like the Bengals. I think they're a young and up and coming team. This Bears team, I think, is a debacle. Like, they just look like they're lost, and there probably be a lot of Bengals fans there too, because it's not too far. So I'm going to take the Bengals. Tight one though. I think it's going to be another close game.
Yep.
All the games this week seem like they're going to be close ones. I'm going Bengals as well. I think the Bears are a mess. They don't know what they're doing as far as their quarterback situation. They're probably going to start Andy Dalton again, and I just don't have any faith in Andy Dalton. And I think the Bengals are going to be 2-0 after week 2, which I never would have guessed.
Didn't the Bears bring in Justin Fields and he scored a touchdown?
Yeah.
I believe.
I don't know why you started Andy Dalton. Oh, jeez.
What a mess.
They really need to just start Fields. Rip the Band-Aid off and start Fields. All right, this is a game that I think could be a blowout. Texans and the Browns. Now, the Texans, they got a nice win, but it was Jacksonville who they beat.
None of us are taking Houston, Tom. Let's be serious.
Yeah. I mean, is anybody taking Houston?
No.
No.
I'm planning on taking Cleveland in my knockout, so they better win this week. They're a huge favorite. They're at home. Listen, Cleveland's a better team. I mean, I would be just stunned if they lost this game. I mean,
I would be shocked.
Yeah, the Texans, let's not. Like Tom said, Jacksonville's horrible. I mean, it's on the road. Even though Danny Amendola, he caught a touchdown last week.
I didn't expect Jacksonville to be horrible. I didn't expect them to look crisp. I mean, they got a rookie quarterback. They have a rookie running back, but he's hurt. But I expected Houston to just be a mess. But boy, was I wrong, and so is everyone else except Mike, who was the only one to pick Houston.
Note to our viewers: this is actually one pick that you can trust us on here.
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah. Now watch Houston win.
I don't want any mad viewers sending me death threats because they lost their betting card.
Wonder if Mike will go with Houston again. Do you think he's going to go with Houston again this week?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, no, Cleveland's a better team. I mean, I think they're like a 12-point favorite. They may not cover that, but I just can't see them losing this game.
I can't either.
Yeah. All right. Saints and the Panthers, NFC South matchup. The Panthers, they didn't look bad last week. They played the Giants, though, so you can't look too much into it. But the Saints absolutely dominated Green Bay. I'm guessing we're all going with Saints, but we'll go across the board. I'm going Saints. Andy, who do you got?
The Saints, honestly, Green Bay just flat out quit in that game against the Saints. That was an embarrassment. I mean, I'm sorry. I am not sold on Jameis Winston at all. But, they got the win. They looked impressive. I think they're better than Carolina. There's still some talent on that Saints team, and I think they'll pull this one out.
All right.
Yeah, give me the Saints. Alvin Kamara is just going to run all over the Panthers.
Yeah.
If the Packers have too many bad games like they did last week, I think Aaron Rodgers checks out really fast.
I think he already has.
He probably already has.
Might have. I don't even think he wants to be there.
No.
Probably going to see more of Jordan Love.
Yep. Yep.
And then he'll probably just go home. I don't even think he'd stick around to watch that. All right, we're getting into the 4:00 games. Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. The Vikings looked horrible last week.
I'll start here. Arizona. I picked Arizona last week. I was really impressed with my Arizona pick, and I was really impressed with Arizona. This is a good football team. Hopkins, James Conner, Kyler Murray. Yeah,
They have a great offensive tandem right there.
Cardinals all day.
All right. Andy, who do you
I like the Cardinals too. Don't forget Andy Isabella too. He is really good.
Yep.
Cliff Kingsbury has done a good job with this team. I mean, I kind of laughed when they hired him, but he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
And no, I don't think the Vikings. This one's on the road too. I think the Cardinals. Who's going to stop DeAndre Hopkins? There's nobody in that Vikings secondary that can stay with him.
You know, if you're looking for a team that can compete with Tampa Bay,
maybe it is Arizona.
Arizona.
It could be Arizona.
Arizona.
I think this team's going to be a real threat this year. And if you're looking at the West, I mean, obviously there's Seattle, but I think it's going to come down to who wins those Cardinals Seattle.
Did any of you guys pick Arizona last week, or did everybody pick Tennessee? Was I the only one who picked Arizona?
Yeah.
There's 3 people that picked Arizona or Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Kevin. Oh wait. Oh no, I did pick Arizona, and so did Andy.
Yep.
And
That's
then
a good football team,
Kevin,
man.
Mike,
That's a dangerous football team.
Yeah. Kevin, Mike, and Steve picked Tennessee.
You know, because even if you cover Hopkins, you still got Christian Kirk, who's a legit receiver. You got other guys that can catch the football. You know, again, James Conner is a huge upgrade at running back.
Oh yeah.
And Chandler Jones, 5 sacks.
5 sacks.
Guy is getting better and better.
Yep.
He's not a young guy either.
Yep.
I still can't believe we got rid of this guy. He is a wrecking.
Oh, no.
He is.
I picked him up on my fantasy team because we do defensive players. As soon as I saw that, he's a free agent, grabbed him.
You have a fantasy team, the IDPs. You do IDPs?
Yep, IDP.
That's awesome.
It's fun. I like it.
Very nice.
The main reason I like it, it keeps me clued in on who the defensive stars are. It really helps with that. Because you actually got to pay attention to the defensive guys. All right, Falcons, Tampa. I don't think anyone's going Atlanta. Should I just mark us all down for Tampa?
Not after that performance last week. No.
I mean, there's no way Tampa is going to play as bad as they did. They are going to absolutely – if this game is within 3 points, I'd be shocked. They are going to roll in this game.
Oh, I think so. I think Antonio Brown will have like 4 touchdowns, Gronk another 3. You know, it could be like one of those 79-3 games or something like crazy. Because Tampa, I mean, they returned everybody. They're not going through a transition period this year. Pretty much their whole team is played together. So they're not going to have that slow start. And as you could tell from last week, I mean, last week was close. I thought there was some horrible officiating in that game on both sides, really. But last week was closer than you would like. But you were playing Dallas, who's an experienced team with, you know, pretty good offense. But Tom Brady pulled it off. And, you know, you just got to wonder what was running through Belichick's head when he sees Brady come back in the final minute and a half, pull off the win. And then he goes and plays Miami and loses. Can't be sitting well with them.
No.
Certainly not sitting well with a lot of Patriots fans. All right, you got the Titans and the Seahawks. I mean, the Titans, they played a somewhat tight game with Arizona, but they didn't impress me at all. I'm going to go Seattle in this one. I think the Seahawks, they're going to be right in there. I think they took a step up defensively. They got some help on the offensive line, which they desperately needed. So give me the Seahawks. Andy, who do you got?
I got Seattle as well. They're at home. I mean, that place is, you know how hard it is to win up in Seattle. Tennessee just don't have the horses to get it done up there. I think Seattle wins this one pretty handily.
All right, Jared.
If this was in Tennessee, I would take Tennessee. But if it's at Seattle, I actually didn't know where it was. I don't have anything up right now.
It's at
But in
Seattle.
Seattle, I'm going to take Seattle. But I think this could be one of the closest games of the weekend. I know we said there's going to be a lot of tight games. I think Tennessee's going to be ready to go this weekend, after losing to Arizona. But in Seattle, it's a tough place to play. Seattle does look pretty good. I'm going Seattle, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if Tennessee plays a really, really good football game or even wins this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tennessee is definitely going to be competitive. I just don't think they're going to be what they were last year. But I think they could definitely play a tight game here. All right.
When Tennessee puts a game together where Derrick Henry gets going, A.J. Brown and Julio do their thing. I mean, we all know what I think of Julio, obviously. Epic rants. But
We do.
When they get going, they're going to be a dangerous, dangerous football team again. But in Seattle, I just think that's a little too much for Tennessee. Give me Seattle here, but again, in a really tight one.
It's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah.
That'll be.
What is that? Is that a 4:00 game or is that the night game?
4:25. I'm guessing most of the country will get that one.
I hope so.
Or actually, over here we might get the Bucks. I don't know what they're doing this year.
Yeah, most likely Fox will probably have that game.
Yep.
Yeah, or we might have Bucks in New England area though. I know they did that last year. They gave us a lot of the Bucks games.
Yeah,
I hope they do again because I really do like watching Tom Brady. He is the GOAT. All right, Cowboys and the Chargers. This is an interesting one. I think this is going to be a heck of a game. It's at SoFi Stadium. Some Chargers are the home team. This is a tough one. The Chargers, they looked good last week. They had they won, right? Yeah.
They beat Washington.
That's right. They had a nice win against what I think is a good Washington defense. It was a tight, gritty game, but they pulled it off. But, based on what I saw last week from Dallas, I think their offense is ready to go. I think there's going to be a very, very close game, but I hate to do this. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think they're going to pull it off. Andy, who do you got?
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going with Dallas too. I mean, as much as I really don't have a lot of faith in the team, I just think the Chargers, the Dallas offense is pretty good. I think the Cowboys bounce back this week. I think they're going to get a win.
All right, Jared.
I got to try to differ you from you guys somewhere, so I'm going to take the Chargers here. That worked for me last week. I'm going to try it again this week at home. I don't know if I feel great about it, but I'm going to take it. Again, like you said, Dallas's offense does look good. If Amari Cooper gets going and they start burning the Chargers DBs, Chargers are definitely going to be in trouble. But
I'm going to be really mad if the Cowboys are the reason I lose the week, though. I'm sorry. Finish your.
I'm just saying. I'm going to try to go Chargers here. If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
hey, you know what? I think anything could happen in this game, and we know what happens with Dallas, right? 1 week, like last week, they look amazing. Their offense is, working on all cylinders. They're looking great, and then the week after, they'll play some crappy team, but they'll play so bad they'll lose to that crap.
Yeah, it's very true. That is Dallas for you.
That is. Yep. And they got to get their defense sorted out a little bit. I mean, Micah Parsons has to kind of really take the control of that defense, and but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to go Chargers here. We'll see.
All right, I like it. All right, Sunday night football. The Chiefs at the Ravens. This should be a fun, entertaining game like we saw last night between Baltimore and Vegas. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I would probably take the over. And I think this is going to be a shootout. I think Kansas City will pull it off, though, and the Ravens will find themselves at 0-2, but it's going to be a really close one. Andy, who do you got?
I'm going with Kansas City. I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. How quickly this team scores is just ridiculous. It really, really is. And I just think the Ravens have too many injuries right now. They're too banged up. The Chiefs are heading. This is not a good matchup for the Chiefs. I mean, I'm sorry, not a good matchup for the Ravens. I don't like them in this game. It could be tight, because the Chiefs defense is a little so-so right now, but I just can't bet against Mahomes. I'm going with the Chiefs.
All right, Jared.
I like the Chiefs by at least 2 touchdowns, I think, here. I think the Ravens, again, have too many injuries, and the Ravens just lost to a Raiders team that I think would lose to the Chiefs. So if I think the Chiefs can beat the Raiders, then I think the Chiefs can beat the Ravens. So, again, too many injuries for the Ravens right now. They have 0 running backs. They have like maybe half a running back right now. So,
So
if you count maybe Lamar
process
Jackson.
of elimination to come up with that pick.
No, I just think the Chiefs are a better team, man. You can't bet against Mahomes, like Andy said. Can't bet against Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is ridiculous. He's insane.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I don't like the guy, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody with the speed that he had. He might be the fastest guy in NFL history.
And the thing, there's been guys as fast as him, but the difference with him and those other guys, he can catch.
Yeah.
A lot of these super fast guys that you think are going to be stars, they can't catch, and that's been their downfall. But Tyreek Hill has an unbelievable set of hands and makes some great catches. He's the best receiver in the league. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I think one guy that can match Tyreek Hill on speed, though, is Henry Ruggs in the Raiders. Henry Ruggs has insane speed. That guy can break away from anybody.
But he had issues catching the ball.
I don't know if he's quite as fast as Tyreek Hill, though.
It's Tyreek Hill and it's Hopkins. It's really everybody else, honestly.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Yeah. All right, Monday Night Football. This should be a doozy. An NFC North matchup. The Lions at Lambeau taking on the Green Bay Packers. I think this game's going to be ugly, but I guess the Lions had a nice comeback against the 49ers where they fell short last week, and the Packers look like a total train wreck. Here's my thing about this game. I don't know, is Aaron Rodgers going to play hard this season? Is he going to be able to overcome that horrible loss? We know this guy mentally, after a tough loss, has, pretty much given up on the season quickly. I don't know if he's going to – I'd hope he's not giving up at this point. But, if Green Bay loses this game, they're going to have a long season in Wisconsin because I don't think they'll be able to overcome this if they lose this one. But I'm going to go Green Bay here.
I'm taking Green Bay too, but I agree with you here, Tom. He's going to hear it because that crowd is going to be out. They're going to be ready to go. And if the Packers just play like they did last week and they lose to the Lions, this might be it. Is there ever – let me ask you both this real quick. Is there a possibility that Aaron Rodgers could get benched? If they're being so bad.
Definitely.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. What were his numbers last
I wouldn't put it past, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Because if they bench him, then that has to be it. He's done.
Yeah. He's toast.
I think they do win this game, though, because I just think the Lions are terrible.
Tom, did you say this game is at Lambeau? Is this at Lambeau Field?
Yes.
All right, give me the Packers. I would be tempted to take the Lions if they didn't lose Jeff Okudah, their top, their number 3 pick from last year, the defensive back, the cornerback. But I think him being out, I think Rodgers could go nuts if he plays. Or doesn't get benched. I don't know. But again, I think you got to go Packers here just because, again, the Lions stink. But
Rodgers went 15 for 28 last week, 133 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
The Saints, who their quarterback retired last year. You lost to Jameis Winston. What an embarrassment.
No, you didn't just lose to Jameis Winston. You got absolutely crushed by
in Jackson. They played the game in Jacksonville. It was like a neutral site.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, That was pretty unbelievable. That's rough. 38-3 to Jameis Winston. They couldn't get anything going.
And they didn't even have Michael Thomas.
Yeah, they didn't even have Michael Thomas,
I don't know what to expect of this Green Bay team. They could be someone that bows out very quick. And to answer your question from before, I think it's a real possibility. Rodgers gets straight out benched.
Especially if they start out. Again, they could win this game, but if they start out 1-4 or something, or even 0-5 or something or whatever, you're going to see Jordan Love, I think. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Because I think the Packers know at this point, Rodgers is likely gone after this year.
They shouldn't have even brought him back. This thing was over. They have no one to blame but themselves. And honestly, this is going to hurt Aaron Rodgers too, especially if this does end sour. I don't think a lot of teams are going to want him.
Yeah, I think there'll be some that want him.
Some
guys, their next 4 games are against the Lions. Then they're at the 49ers. Then they're home against the Steelers. And then they're at the Bengals.
Tough games.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think any of those are really rollovers, except for maybe the Lions this week. But
I would love to see him lose to the Bengals. That would just be awesome.
It'd be a tough one with the 49ers, tough one against the Steelers, tough one against the Bengals.
I think the Bengals might actually be decent this year.
Then they got the Bears, Washington, and the Cardinals after that. So
that is Jared. That's a tough schedule, and going to San Francisco, Aaron Rodgers they have not played well out there.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it could get real interesting, but it won't surprise me if Rodgers doesn't last long. He has another. They lose to the Lions, he might be gone right after that game. He throws 2-3 picks to the Lions, and they lose that game. And they get their kneecaps bitten off. It could be a very short stay for Aaron Rodgers this year. And they paid him a lot of money to come back too, which was surprising.
They were desperate. They're a desperate team.
Yep, they certainly are. I know John Elway is a big Aaron Rodgers fan, so I could picture Rodgers ending up in Denver. That almost happened this offseason.
Yeah, you're right. It came close.
But no surprise it didn't. All right, Jared, you been covering any good games lately?
Not really. I haven't really gotten going much again. I'm kind of in the process of moving, so I've been super busy with that. I did get out and cover some football this past Friday. That was good. It's good to get out there. Love always being out there. I was actually at Natick against Needham this past weekend, and Natick took it to him pretty good. I'm not sure where I'm going to be this week, but I'm kind of following along and just excited to be covering some high school football again, man.
Absolutely, great weather lately too for these.
I know. Hopkinton unfortunately got.
Yeah, Hopkinton did not have a good Friday night. They got crushed by Wayland. Very young team though. They lost a lot of players heading into this year. They brought up a lot of guys that had a lot of playing time on the JV team last year. They're at the varsity level now, so could be a bit of a painful transition, but I do think there's some talent there. They do have speed, and they have a new coach. So a little bit of
coach, new QB, new running back. I mean, Cam Mulvaney graduated at running back. Who was the QB?
Well, they have Lisher this year. He was the backup last year.
Pretty young team.
But
real quick to mention too. How about Brady Olson throwing 2 touchdowns against Boston College?
Very impressive.
Very impressive. I was very impressed.
Me too.
Yeah, UMass really gave him a game.
I think BC. I don't think they. I think Pete Cronin said it on the broadcast. They played down to him, but UMass. That's big for them. I mean.
Yep.
That's a legit team. I mean, throwing touchdowns against. So maybe UMass finally has something there with Brady Olson, but he looked really good.
Brady Olson's old team, Milford, getting a good win. I saw some kid from Milford had 300 yards receiving almost.
Isaiah Pantalone, unbelievable game.
Whiz. That's insane.
Yeah, especially for the first game of the season, Jared. But Milford was very impressive. A very impressive win for them over Foxborough last week.
Dale Olson getting it done this year.
Yep.
Yeah, they should be interesting. That's a big win against Foxborough. But we are just about out of time. So there you have it. Our NFL picks are in the book. I wouldn't listen to any of them if I were a betting man. But for Jared Keene, Andy Barron, I'm Tom Nappy. Thanks for watching this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. Take care. Be well. We'll talk to you again soon.